Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai. Happy Democracy Day and welcome to Peak Time Spectacle. I am Daniel Atai. And today we have to look briefly into democracy in the Fourth Republic. And this topic would be more than one episode. We'll continue to do this until we exhaust the topic. But we'll begin today. However, on the course of our discussion, we may digress into the First, Second, and Third Republic in comparison to what we have now. We look into democratic institutions and other areas. But before then, let's take a short break with a video of the man in whose honor Buhari made this day a historic democracy day in Nigeria, talking about Moshood Kashimowo Abiola, popularly known as MKO Abiola. Please stay tuned.
Assuming there was good faith on the part of government, all matters relating to the election should have gone to the tribunal set up by law for such cases, and should only have been initiated by persons or bodies that had genuine interest in the election. Instead, we are being told that the judiciary behaved so badly that I, Moshood Kashimowo Abiola, should be penalized for his conduct. It is incredible. In view of all this, I find the conclusion unfortunate but inescapable that the federal military government is guilty of bad faith. Pure and simple. No one has accused me of any offense against any known electoral law or regulation. The people of this country went to polls on Saturday, June 12, 1993, and without let or hindrance chose me as their president. Didn't they? They did.
All right, welcome back. That was actually the video of MKO Abiola, the man whose honor today we have as Democratic Day in Nigeria. And with me in the studio to look into this are our in-house analyst in the person of Charles Ibe. Charles Ibe is a political affairs analyst. Mr. Charles, you're welcome to Spectacle.
Thanks very much for having me.
Okay. By my far right is Victor Tehemba. Victor Tehemba is a social commentator. Mr. Victor, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right, thank you. Before we begin the analysis, I would like to introduce you to the handing over ceremony in 1999 when the Fourth Republic actually began, when Abdulsalam Abubakar relinquished power, the military power, to Obasanjo, and democracy began from there. Let's have the little clip and then we'll begin from there.
President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the
everything created by
the Constitution of the Federal Republic, as well as other insignia of office, to President Olusegun Obasanjo.
I believe that this is what God Almighty has ordained for me and for my beloved country, Nigeria, and its people. I accept this destiny in all humility and with the full belief that with the backing and support of our people, we shall not fail. The beneficiaries of corruption in all forms will fight back with all the foul means at their disposal. We shall be firm with them. They will be there will be no sacred cows. Nobody, no matter who and where, will be allowed to get away with the breach of the law or the perpetration of corruption and evil.
President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
You're welcome back. That was when the military handed power to a democratic regime in Nigeria. We'll look into that briefly, then we start with the current president, the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, to compare and contrast. Like I said, this program, this episode is just the beginning. Democracy in Nigeria, talking about the Fourth Republic. After this episode, we go into another episode to actually look into it vividly. Mr. Charles, today is Democracy Day. Formerly, it was May 29th. And now because of Abiola's honor, this president deemed it fit, Buhari deemed it fit to make today, June 12th, our new Democracy Day. What do you think could be in the mind of Nigerians? Could they say it is politics, or to win the hearts of the southwestern people, or it is actually honorable to have done that?
Well, thank you very much, and happy Democracy Day, Nigeria.
Yes.
Now, like the question you asked, is it politics? I don't really think so.
Okay.
Because if you look actually at that, between that election,
yes,
that was
1993
election that was nullified.
Yes.
I don't think, in context, that it's actually really about Abiola, the fact that it's Abiola that made them name today Democracy Day.
Okay.
If you look at the dynamics and the events before that election was annulled,
yeah,
you will find out that there was real democracy.
Okay.
For the first time, we saw Nigerians disregard a whole lot of things that divided them as at then. We saw the Abiola ran on a Muslim ticket. Abiola was from the south, But despite all of that, people came out en masse. The support for the candidate as at that time was massive. And I mean, it was an election that it was open because I think it was option A4.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we would have talked about rigging, all of that would have been very difficult because, I mean, it was clear that this was the choice of Nigerians. So I think naming it Democracy Day, it's more in honor of the people. The action they took, coming out in response to the call to do their civic responsibility, to exercise their franchise. That was actually what made it that democracy. Because democracy is about what? The people.
Yes.
Government of the people, for the people, by the people. So that action of the people coming out en masse to really vote and ensure that their choice. And if you ask me, I don't think we've had such, mass action from the people ever since then. So it was apt naming this day.
Democracy Day in Nigeria from May 29th.
Exactly.
Actually, Abdusalam Abubakar handed power to Obasanjo May 29th. But today, in honor of Abiola, we have June 12th as a Democracy Day in Nigeria now. If it were to be now, that Abiola ran under the ticket of Muslim, the religious factor, what could you have, presumed?
Well, okay, if I get the question correctly, you are looking like if we bring 1993 to this present age,
yes,
and they run on both Muslim, and whether it's going to have that kind of acceptance.
Yes, exactly, the massive acceptance.
So I just want to point it out clear that basically from my interactions with Nigerians, the average Nigerian does not really care about religion or tribe. They are more concerned about somebody who is competent. Of course, those who really concern themselves with religion or tribe, whatever, are those people who are going to benefit from the division. So it's those people, in fact, during a let's run up to these elections from whether 2015 or 2019, we've heard people who could say it and say, don't vote for this person because he's from this part of the country and he does this region. Not that he thinks that person is not competent. He's saying it based on the fact of religion, and he understands that if his listeners or his followers get to hear this and do that, it will be to his own benefit. So Nigeria, if it were at this time, yes. And right now, the reason why we have that sort of division where it seems like tribe and religion is a problem is because we've not had that particular person that will stand out in the character or manner that Abiola stood out. So if we have that kind of person right now, Nigerians will once again neglect whatever notions they've had about religion or tribe or whatever. And again, at that time, we also have to understand that even why Abiola ran on the ticket of Muslim, his opponent, Tofa, was also a Muslim from the northeast as well. So regardless, there is nothing really much you could do. And then we also look at the fact that maybe less than Tofa's running mate was a Christian. You have to understand that he was not as popular. Popularity. Yes, he was only popular within those people who consider themselves the kingmakers. But with the people, Abiola was more unpopular than he was.
And also, in addition, there was something that stood out for Abiola. You could always identify Abiola with philanthropism.
Exactly.
He was a philanthropist. That's
the way he was popular.
And it cuts across. Not minding religious or whatever. There are records of what he was doing. He stood out
across the geopolitical zones of the country.
So placed side by side with his opponent. And little was known about Tofa until that election. Exactly. So if you put him in this particular era like you did ask, I believe it's still going to play out. And don't forget that somebody like Buhari itself, he had something close to Abiola. Abiola had philanthropy, Buhari had discipline,
character.
Integrity, like he was a Mr. No Nonsense and all of that. So, and coming from
actually, we voted for Buhari because of my father said, in fact, if it is not Buhari, we should forget about the election that he served under Buhari, who is a Mr. Integrity.
Exactly.
So pious, and that was what sold Buhari to everybody. And his stand against corruption. We'll come into that. I think we have to look briefly into Buhari's Democracy Day speech, and after that, what we'll deduce from it, just some areas that we need to touch, not all the 38 minutes video. We'll just take a little out of his speech, maybe something like 10 minutes. You out there can look into it. You could call us with the numbers that will be displayed on the screen. Let's dialogue and let's discuss democracy under this administration and how to set agenda for the government for the remaining 3 years. Just stay tuned and have the enjoyment of the clip.
Fellow Nigerians, the 2020 celebration of Democracy Day marks 21 years of uninterrupted civil administration in our dear country. This day provides us an opportunity to reflect on our journey as a nation, our achievements and struggles. It is a day to honor our founding fathers who toiled to establish our republic and every Nigerian who has worked tirelessly to sustain it. In order to stabilize the economy, the monetary authority took steps to build the external reserves, which resulted in improved liquidity in the foreign exchange market. The external reserves grew from $33.42 billion United States dollars on April 29, 2020, to about $36 billion United States dollars in May 2020, which is enough to finance 7 months of import commitments. Agriculture remains the key to our economic diversification strategy. The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative Program continues to deliver significant quantities of affordable and high-quality fertilizers to our farmers. This initiative has also revived 31 blending plants and created a significant number of direct and indirect jobs across the value chain. Government is also revamping the cotton, textile, and garment sector via a CBN Textile Revival Intervention Fund that will considerably reduce foreign exchange spent on cotton and other textile imports. We are executing some critical projects through the transmission, rehabilitation, and expansion program, including the Aloaji to Onisha, Delta Power Station to Benin, and Kaduna to Kano. B, 330 kV DC 62-kilometer line between Birnin Kebbi and Kamba. C, Lagos-Ogun Transmission Infrastructure Project. D, Abuja Transmission Ring Scheme. And E, Northern Corridor Transmission Project. Our agreement with Siemens will transmit and distribute a total of 11,000 megawatts by 2023 to serve our electricity needs. On transportation, another critical sector to improving our economic competitiveness, we are growing the stock and quality of our road, rail, air, and water transport infrastructure. Through the Sukuk-funded road projects, a total of 412 kilometers of the targeted 643 kilometers road projects have been completed, representing 64%. I implore state and local governments to revamp their intelligence assets so that the security agencies can nip in the bud any planned attacks in remote rural areas. I send my heartfelt condolences to all the relatives and the communities affected. As part of the strengthening of our internal security architecture, the Ministry of Police Affairs was created. Among others, government has expanded the National Command and Control Center to 19 states of the Federation, resuscitated the National Public Security Communication System, and commenced the implementation of the Community Policing Strategy. To reduce social economic inequality through targeted social investment programs, education, technology, and improved information. Our social investment program has continued to be a model to other nations and has engaged 549,500 N-Power beneficiaries, 408,682 beneficiaries of the Conditional Cash Transfer Program, and 2,238,334 beneficiaries of the Growth Enhancement and Empowerment Program. This is being done in collaboration with the states. Similarly, market money and trader money programs have provided affordable loans to small and micro-scale enterprises to grow their businesses. Under the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, over 9,963,729 children are being fed to keep them in school and improve their nutritional status. Fellow Nigerians, the year 2020 has been like none other. In January 2020, the COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic by the World Health Organization. The number of global infections have risen from less than 8,000 shared between China and 18 other countries to over 7 million spread over 216 countries and on all continents. Nigeria recorded its first case of COVID-19 on February 27, 2020, and within the first 100 days, I have had cause to address the nation on 3 occasions within 1 month, which underscores the gravity of this pandemic. There is no doubt that this pandemic has affected the global economy and all known socio-economic systems. It has also brought grief and pain to families that have lost their loved ones. Like many Nigerians, I feel the grief and pain not only as your president, but also as someone who has lost a close member of my staff and some relatives and friends. In order to have a robust national response, I approved a presidential task force on COVID-19 to provide guidance and leadership in tackling the pandemic nationwide. State governments also constituted their own COVID-19 task forces. Complementing this was the establishment of a National Emergency Operations Center responsible for providing technical and professional guidance in the national response. The overall objective of the PTF COVID-19 is to ensure that the pandemic does not overwhelm our health systems while ensuring that we maintain an effective case management system. I wish to assure all our women of this administration's determination to fight gender-based violence through the instrumentality of the law and awareness creation. As we celebrate this year's Democracy Day, let us remember that notwithstanding our aspirations, humanity and indeed democracy is under the threat of COVID-19. Nigeria has survived many crises before and came out stronger. I am confident that by God's grace, we shall overcome this one and emerge stronger and more forceful.
Well, welcome back. That was Buhari's Democracy Day speech. We won't go into that. Mr. Integrity, everything he said there, we believe he has done them. But we are going to look into our democratic institutions, which are actually the bane of every democratic government. And I will turn to you, Mr. Charles Ibi. Let's look at the electoral umpire first as one of the institutions of democracy. How far, how well within these 21 years how could you appraise the INEC and the SEC, the INEC at the Federal Independent National Electoral Commission and the State Independent Electoral Commission? How could we say they are helping our democratic dispensation right now?
That's a very tough one.
We'll continue to x-ray this very well until as we are speaking here, we are also telling the government what to do.
Exactly. I mean, like from the name, you called it
Independent National Electoral Commission. It's number one umpire.
And then we'll have the State Independent Electoral Commission.
Yeah,
that's at the state level.
Yes.
Now, the underlining word there is independent. And that has been a question over time. How independent is this body.
And what do we do?
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, how independent has INEC been? I mean, if you go through the acts setting up INEC, what they're supposed to do, how it should be done, I believe INEC as a body, even the CX or whatever external laws that established them, were noble laws. They were good. They had all the best intentions. But then it's been manned and it's been run with people, by people. It's the leadership of that organization is by appointment. Appointed by who? By the government of whatever government of the day. So just that fact alone puts a big question mark on dependence or independence of that body. And now over time, since 1999 till to date, we've seen the body struggle, carrying a moral burden, I mean, from the perception of people, from their actions and inactions. They have been struggling over time to create what seems to be like the real deal when it comes to elections. But they have been really, in actual terms, been hampered by a whole lot of factors.
And it's not even financial factor.
It's not financial. It's about the politics of INEC. It's about the interest of the key players in the political scenario. It's about delivering. Are they free enough to deliver? I mean, we've seen results being challenged. I mean, and we all know, we are all in Nigeria and we know what happens during elections. We know how complicit or how free of blame INEC can be at such times. But in all, like I say, it's still work in progress for INEC. They are not there yet. Let's not beat about the
after 21 years.
After 21 years, we are not.
Mr. Victor, what do you think could be wrong, and what could we do to better adapt our electoral umpire? Because it is the bane of every democracy. Well, along with the judiciary, we'll come into that.
Well, no, like you said, the underlying word for this organization is independence. And then you also have to understand that just like a country, you will say Nigeria was independent in 1960, and then you begin to ask yourself, are we really truly independent? So whatever kind of independence a country enjoys, like Nigeria enjoys that they say they were independent from the British, it is the same thing that the INEC basically still enjoys, because now there's nothing the INEC we get to do that don't have to go back to the government. And like I said, it's still the government that gets to appoint who heads this commission. And when they come up with the budget, it's still the same government that will have to approve that budget, fund
it's
everything.
Like I can't be sitting maybe as president or governor and sponsor the commission, and you expect me to lose out.
Yeah, so, but then going ahead, then we know that these guys cannot really generate money on their own. So definitely they have to be funded by the government. But then they could also have it in this way, that it's like what do you call this? Statutory allocation.
Yes, statutory allocation.
That just
because
whether a government
yes.
Agrees to it or not, but
yes.
we know they have this money will always be accrued to them to their account. And then maybe they could also look at the fact that
financial
some people,
autonomy.
Yes, some people have also profiled the solution that perhaps the process of appointing the INEC chairman should be removed from this purview of the presidency. Maybe perhaps it should come from the NJC, where they get to decide within themselves. Although we know.
What do you say as an analyst? Do you buy their thought that yes, the power of the president should be reduced from appointing electoral commissioners or electoral?
I agree, because basically I'm also the kind of person that says we should restructure the country in a way that we devolve powers, the enormous power vested in the presidency,
yes.
to be reduced to some level, because this is just too much power. When it gets to a point, and then when you also get to realize that in every election we've had some of the worst elections we've had since the Fourth Republic, would be the 2007 election and the 2019 elections. Both of them go hand in hand in terms of which is like the worst election. And then when you look at who did they blame first, after the INEC chairman responsible, the next person they are holding responsible is the president at the time. So no matter what is being said, 2007 elections, as bad as it was, people always pin it on the selection of President Olusegun Obasanjo. 2019 election, as bad as it was, they will always pin it on President Muhammadu Buhari. But in the event where he doesn't get to appoint these people, he goes through another process. Nobody will basically really tie his name to a bad election.
Yeah, just like, like you rightly said, devolution of powers, you can't remove that. That is a key factor that has to be...
Because we have to get it right after Mr. President.
Exactly.
If we don't get it right democratically, especially with the electoral umpire, then we are in for a mess.
Exactly.
The people that will be leading us might not be people with integrity like we have now, or people with content and character, and we may see charlatans leading the country and the state. And all boils down to the party platform and the electoral umpire. Talking about institutions of democracy, it's not just enough to say we are celebrating Democracy Day. What next? How do we get it right now? Continue.
Yeah, like he mentioned removing the power of appointing INEC and investing it in maybe the judiciary. And you find out that even in the judiciary, who appoints? The judiciary is still based on appointments too, from the president.
And that means the constitutional framework comes in there.
That's just the CJN. I think.
But then even that position in itself, you see, find out like the other day they were
it's still in the power, within the power of the president to appoint
the Court of Appeal. They say the president forwarded the name. I mean, so the president still wields a whole lot of power in the judiciary. So if you remove INEC from the president and give it to you, it's still the same thing. He can still...
No, but when you're looking at the fact that when you look, even in fact, for you to even think about the fact that you want to devolve the powers of the president, then you also look into that as well. Yeah. Because you realize, just as you just noticed now, that when you take him to this, when you take the powers to this particular department, the presidency also has influence in this. So what do? Okay, let us also remove the influence of the president from this particular sector too. And then let me just also chip in that when we're talking about independent election, I think there's an iota of independence when it comes to INEC, but you see SEC, forget it.
Why you say we should forget about state INEC Electoral Commission? So if we forget it, we have states existing. Do we forget about the states?
Well,
so what do we do?
The discussion is, are they independent?
Yes.
And so we're saying
we know now that they are not independent. In a situation where a state electoral commission will conduct election and the opposition party will not even win one seat, not even a councillor seat, and the appointment will be very parallel. All the commissioners from one party, all the essays from one party. Is that democracy? So when somebody tells you Happy Democracy Day, what comes to your mind?
Well, to me, what comes to my mind first is the fact that we are not in a military rule, we are in a civilian rule, but that's just we are.
Yeah, but even at that, someone had we actually out of the military rule? Because you find out that it's just like a military man removes his uniform and puts on an agbada, and then he's there. I mean, they say once a soldier, always a soldier. Yes. So I will have a whole lot of these military men playing key roles in democracy. No matter what, you can never remove that military out of. If they are not contesting, they are behind they
are the kingmakers.
They are the kingmakers. So you can't. So are we actually celebrating democracy like we should say democracy? How much of the people's will plays out in every dispensation? How much of the results that we... I mean, is it not somehow that our results get to be challenged to the Supreme Court?
To the Supreme Court.
And at every step, INEC is always being charged along. They always join.
INEC is... That's why we say we have to begin with institutions of democracy, because if I go through the statement of Mr. President within that 38 minutes, a lot, he spoke a lot and he achieved a lot, which we have the evidence of those things and the compendium. But when we look at the institutions under his administration and what he would leave after him, he has to make history after him, because they say, make history, don't just write it. And that is what we are doing from TV. And in as much as we will be patriotic in our postulations and agenda setting, we would like these things to be implemented. Because if we want to celebrate the next Democracy Day, we should be able to see a refined state INEC Electoral Commission, or the devolution of power, where the power will still go back to the independent National Electoral Commission to conduct state elections. If not, we'll have parallel lines in administrative governance. And when I mean administrative governance, the functionality of a state where there is no opposition, where there is no watchdog, and the press too is the fourth estate of the realm. After the legislature, you have the press, the media too. I don't think we too we have done farewell, if you ask me, because we too we are part of the institutions of democracy. Or don't you think so?
Yeah, of course, the media is the key. I mean, you can't remove the media in any society and expect a sane society, because they are the watchdog. They see and they say, and they shape the policy and the polity.
Like we are doing now.
Exactly. Now, when you talk about democracy, and we talk about institutions of democracy, what actually, the underlying thing, even when we talk about the executive and what not, it is still the people. And then you find out that it's becoming, it's as if we are running in a circle because the people are helpless. You vote, your votes don't count. You go to court and you expect justice to be done from the judiciary.
Yeah.
And some way, somehow, we've seen what
money bags people, and you see the highest bidder will win from court, even when you have evidence of malpractices.
Exactly.
And you call that democracy?
So, and then the people actually still remains key. Because there's something I've always wondered about Nigerian politics, not just Nigeria, African politics. Now we are out, we are on the outside looking in. We have all the bright ideas. Oh, the problem with Nigeria, this is how to solve it and all of that. Just give me and you one position and we'll enter there. The whole orientation changes. I've kept asking, what is it actually in this governance that makes people lose their focus, lose their orientation, lose their values?
Lose their values.
I think I was actually initially in that school of thought, but then I basically came to realize that people that criticize don't make good leaders. Really? When you put them in governance, and then people that criticize as well, when they finally get into government and then they do bad, look at them, try to cast your mind back to when they were outside government and they were making all the whole criticism. You get to find out that their criticism was more from a state of emotion
or sentiment.
They were not being practical. There was no,
or from a state of affiliation. Perhaps affiliated to a particular party
or tribe or religion, whatever.
No, but I've seen non-partisan critics that actually when they got there, it appears the system has a way of overwhelming.
So, well, I think I am very different from that. I have served. I'm a right honorable before now. I have served, and when I served, I am. Let me say, my situation today, it is because I stood against authorities. I'm from Benue State.
But how many?
I stood against authority.
How many used?
This and 24 in this. How many councillors entirely in the
state? We are 276.
So 276 and just one person.
Not one. Not one. 156 followed me. The governor had less. 156. The governor had 110. You could see that faction. And up till now, the benefits that were supposed to come to us, we were asked to decamp from our party to go to his party. And I said, we have kept some integrity with this party. We have built the party to some extent. Well, we cannot just move from this party and follow you, but you are our governor. So be it, we will follow your administrative prowesses, but we will not, because of them, we were deprived of so many things. Allowances of 6 months, gone. Up to now, severance, 150% of our severance have not been paid. We have petitioned to the presidency, we have gone to the ICPC, we have gone to the EFCC, now we are going to the court of industrial court, so that our voices could be heard. And why? As the chairman of the State Councillors Forum, I'm supposed to have my car, my vehicle from him. I say, unless you do this. And I said, okay, so be it. I remain where I I was and where I am.
No.
But talking about non-partisanship, our political parties are also factors in electoral institutions. I mean, a democratic institution. From what is happening in Edo State now, if you could look at the partisan politics, even intra-party politics and faction that is going on, could you say that we have gotten it right in terms of political party?
We don't even have politics in Nigeria.
Party.
What we just have is a group of
hungry people.
Yes, a group of interested, a group of individuals running after their vested interests. The people are never part of their agenda. Fine, they will come to you during the do this. Once they get that, like I did say, I'm still to get what it is actually that turns people around. And when you need the people, you come to them. But after that, so the major problem of our democracy is politics. The major problem of politics in Nigeria.
But then, what is the alternative to politics?
Well, the alternative to politics is politics. But then, how do we play it? So that is the key issue. Now we have institutions of government, of institutions of democracy that are supposed to be run by people. Who are these people? Politicians. And they are the ones that, when you talk about corruption, who are the corrupt people? Politicians. Who are the ones that bribe? Politicians. Who are the ones that rig? Politicians. Who are the ones that influence?
You see,
politicians.
It's not only politicians.
It's
not like if you say politicians, I'll disagree completely. The electoral umpire is manned by a professor.
Appointed by
a politician, but he is a professor. And the subsequent one wants to come might still be professor. So if a professor who is an academician from the academic field could rig election for a politician, could you say it is a political factor or character factor?
It's not character factor.
It is character
factor.
Let me
tell you that if
you could say no.
You gave an example of your experience. You understand? You refused to toe the other line, and up to today you are crying for it. Now, if that professor decides to be professorial or whatever,
but one day I may still smile. I may cry for some time.
But until then, you understand? So this issue, which you're not even sure of.
I am very optimistic.
Is the issue of who pays the piper is still very, very, I mean, till tomorrow. So even if you like, put a reverend father or put the pope, and then as long as you still are the one that, hey, I put you there. And if you step out of line, they have their way. Politicians have their way of putting those people they appoint in check. Once you step out of line, look at what is happening in Edo State for right now. We know how the national chairman influenced the governor to be there. Now, the minute he saw, it appears he's not towing the line.
Yes.
We can see what is happening.
Yes.
You understand? So,
and I think right now the man is out of the party.
It is still
seeking solace in PDP right now.
Now that is politics. If he goes to the PDP, is it enough politicians he's going to meet there? So where are we going to get to begin to change this narrative?
So what is your solution? What do we do now?
Well,
if you say where you are in the media now.
Now it's that why I say now the people. I did say it. The people are the ones that hold the key to all of this. Okay. But it appears somehow the people have been cowed. We have not really been educated enough about our civic responsibilities. In fact, for a long time it has been advocated that civic education, right from primary, secondary school, be into the curriculum. People should know their rights and know how to go for it. I mean, it's absurd that just a few people out of 190 million or almost 290, just a handful, 200 and just a handful, 200 million. You can even hold them like this that controls the destinies of all of this. So what are the people doing? And they tell you your vote is your power, and we just vote and things happen. And even the judiciary, that they say the hope of the common man. I also see man, but by people. Are they not people? Yeah. They are human beings before they are. You talk about them as the hope of the common man. Right. Now, do they really know that they are standing for the common man? When the push comes to shove, do they withhold that tenet of whatever they practice and all of that? So you see that the real thing, the real deal, getting out of this thing still lies with the people. Okay, if, for instance, in those states, all the powers that do whatever they do and all of that, and the people at the polls decide that this is what we want, the people can decide. The people can say, no, we are not going to rig. The people can say, no, we are not going to fight. We are not going to snatch ballot boxes.
Yeah.
We are not going to do all of that. And the people can monitor their votes and make sure it's counted. But what do? We'll take 1,000, 2,000, and
even blow guns on the air, and scare people.
It's people that shoot those guns.
So, Victor, would you advise, apart from, would you advise electronic voting any moment from now? Would you advise the government on that?
Well, absolutely. And when you look during the time of Chega, he was working towards that. In fact, it was in that spirit that we even had card readers. So that would have just served like as a lesson springboard to where, as time goes on, we will then begin to introduce electronic voting at some point. So definitely yes, we really support that where you vote immediately, it's counted and it's transmitted.
Yeah, and also given with the revolution that we have now, we have a technological revolution.
Yes.
You have your internet of all things.
Yeah.
So why can't election be part of the all things? In Nigeria, we talk about 5G, we talk about all the Gs.
4G.
So, yeah.
The president mentioned 4G coverages today.
Exactly.
He mentioned
so, for the fact that the banking...
We have 4G. We have 4G.
Whatever we have.
We have 4G. Even if it's 3G, the H plus is 4G.
Exactly.
In your edge.
That systems like the banking system can work. Then you have what do you call it, driver's license, those things that go around with thumb printing and all of that.
Yes.
For the fact that those things can work, those are very good templates that if a sincere government that wants it to work, talk about electronic voting and all of that. It is
because
very,
most of our data capturing institutions are, via thumb printing. That is so. It is better we do it that way.
Now, for instance, look at JAMB. You see the registration for JAMB right now. Cyber cafe, you go in, you thumb print. It's one. You can't have multiple registrations. So why can't we on election day? We don't even make it a public holiday. All you just have to do, go to the next cyber cafe, put in your thumb print, because that thing is all over the place.
Yes.
Exactly.
Put in once you're eligible. Put in your.
You
thumb
can
print.
even vote from your
vote from your palm top if you have
your handset,
and then there's a central collation system.
All right. Anyway, we would love to stop here, but like I said, the episode will continue so that we exhaust what we mean by democracy in this Fourth Republic. We have to exhaust it. Your last word.
Well, I have to say this just be to the president and mostly those that actually support the president. We are celebrating democracy, and then when you look at democracy has about 5 pillars.
Okay.
There's where you have the freedom of the press, freedom of the judiciary. You have independent electoral commission, periodic election, whatever. Then when you look at all of these pillars that you look, it seems it might not be the real picture, but what is perceived outside is that all of these are under attack under this current administration. People do not
only this current administration.
It has been
since 1999.
Before 1999.
Like he mentioned, the military scheme that metamorphosed into Abuja all the time.
No, the thing is this: it has always been there. It will be there. But at the point where people are feeling like there is a flagrant or brazen abuse of these powers that we say we are doing it, and then you can't do anything. People feel that under this government that the judiciary have been attacked. We've seen episode under this administration. People complain so much about journalists being picked up and locked up wherever they are. People also complain about this past election. They say it's a backward progress from what we had in 2015.
Yes.
Then we're also looking at the fact that. So these are things that I think that for when you were talking about his legacy, when he gets to leave, he might have done other things that are excellent to the people's minds or whatever. But then these other ones will remain there. That perhaps people now need to start advising him very better and understand that there are some things you don't do to undermine some certain institutions.
Thank you
for
very
the
much.
Of democracy.
Yes, I want to just put in something in line with what he said.
In 30 seconds.
In line with what he said about talking to the president. I mean, I think he has a very good opportunity right now to write his name in letters of gold.
Yes.
Straighten all the institutions that needs to be strengthened.
In addition to all that he has done.
And I think that it was in the strength of trying to write his name in gold is the reason why he made June 12th to be a democracy day to honor Emeka Abiola and other Nigerians, and also putting a frantic effort to build the second Niger bridge that has been taking forever to build.
No, I said all his achievements, there are no doubts there. We have the compendium of Buhari's achievement, and we will have more. We know Mr. Integrity, like somebody is saying here, one Chioma Peter said, Buhari is the good thing that happens to Nigeria. If it was not him, I don't know where Nigeria would have been, and so on and so forth. We are having most happy democracy day from Mercy Joseph. Mercy Joseph, Miende Feling Sato said, nice. Africa Frank, we are not doing nonsense here. Say democratic, probably you say nonsense. Well, if you try military, you will know that democracy is not nonsense. Happy Democracy Day, that one comes from you. Thank God for this day, John Obenaye, and so on and so forth. Keep dropping your comment. I think we will stop here, but we will continue with another pillar on Monday, and then until we exhaust the democratic institutions in Nigeria, we will not say we have gotten it right in the Fourth Republic. Do well to follow us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Television Nigerian. Just search for it, like the page, and just click on the notification button so that each time we come on air, you have your notification. Our YouTube channel, Television Nigerian, just search under your YouTube search button. Like our page, subscribe, and it's not costly. Continue to get our notification as well. Our website, www.tvn.news. You can reach us there. On Twitter, we are at TV Nigerian. TV Nigerian, as in UI Nigerian. And you can follow us on our Twitter. Follow us and drop your comment anywhere you've seen us on our social media platforms. Thanks for watching, and I have been Daniel Atai. We'll continue this episode on Monday. Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai.